Alright, so let's go ahead and kick this. Alright, so we're going to start the YouTube highlight from right here. This is the Monday heroic boss walkthrough. It was kind of split. There was a little bit of, we're obviously going over every boss in Dragon Soul. The first week we did War Master, then Spine, then Madness, then Sanaz, and this week, you're only down to a few. You've got Hagara, Morchok, and Yor'sahj, and there is, Anultraxian. So, there's still a few we can go over, but this week we're going to be going through Yor'sahj on heroic. Okay, so with that said, we're going to go ahead and I got some videos here that I'm going to use as some references, and then we are also going to open it up to the stream chat and let you guys go ahead and throw in if you guys have a video or questions and things like that, and we can go ahead and go over these. So to go ahead and start it, we're going to do what we always do, and that is going through the dungeon journal and going over a list of each one of the abilities. So I'm going to go ahead and log on, and we're going to get the dungeon journal open, and I'm just going to go through all these so everybody is all on the same sheet as far as that goes, and there's no questions about any of the abilities and all that. So you guys can go ahead and, open your dungeon journals if you want, and we can get it kicking. Alright, so let's see. Alright. Dragon Soul, Yor'sahj the Unsleeping. Okay, we put it on 25 heroic. Right off the bat, it's not like a super complex fight, and to be honest, before nerfs and any of that shit occurred, this was actually one of the better fights in the instance. And what I mean by before nerfs, I'm not talking about the 5, 10, 15. I'm not talking about the 5% incrementing, Dragon Soul, but I'm talking about, day one, before they nerfed the HP, before any of that happened. This fight was really, really well tuned. And I really wish they wouldn't have changed it as soon as they did, but I understand why they did. And that's because, it's the second or third boss, depending on the route you go. So, it can't be that hard. So, yeah, we're just going to go over, like I said, abilities. I can go over a lot of it from a tank perspective and, give you guys some insight on how to handle some of the color combinations the best and things like that. Okay, so, and then if we get done in enough time, we'll go ahead and, give 5 or 10 minutes to talk about Peyton Manning and all that good stuff. Because, like I said, if anybody's been watching the stream, you guys know I was pretty into that, so. Not too happy with how it turned out, but we'll get to that. Alright, so again, Dungeon Journal, Yor'sahj the Unsleeping, here we go. Void Bolt, blasts its primary target with dark energy, dealing 1,000 shadow damage, and then 50,000 shadow damage every 2 seconds. This effect stacks. Cliff notes, that's a tank debuff, it stacks. You can either solo tank it, or you can duo tank it. In 10-man, you want to be solo tanking the fight, you really do. You can 2-tank it, but it's a lot easier to deal with in 10-man, in my opinion. I've done both on both a Pally, DK, Warrior, Druid. I've did the fight on all of them, so a DK hands down is the best for that. We'll get into that when we start talking about like tank pros and cons and things like that. Okay, but Void Bolt, that's your tank dot that you have to deal with. Call of the Bloods, blah blah blah. This basically, this is the slimes that he picks. Okay, so like I said, the fight's not super complex. It just has a little bit of variation. It gives you a lot of control over what you want to have deal with, and a lot of that comes down to your guild, its strengths and weaknesses and things like that. But it will get in that. So call of whatever, that's whenever the Bloods come out. Okay, fusing vapors. This is to keep you from killing more than one blood at a time. When damage is below 50%, it heals all other active. It basically heals the other slimes up whenever you're dealing with that. Alright, I'm just trying to go through here real quick. Yeah, when you kill one, just make sure I don't mess up the wording here. I'm not super good with the wording of all these abilities and names and stuff, but yeah, this is the one where once you get a ooze to 50%, it heals all the other ones, and then once one dies, you're unable to kill another one. So it basically keeps you from, splitting the raid 12 and 12, or whatever on, 2 different slimes and making it a lot easier. You can only kill 1 slime, and that's what that's making. It's forcing you to do. Okay. Then we're going to go through each one of the bloods real quick. Glowing globule. That's the yellow one. Yeah. Okay. So the yellow one is the one that makes it. It takes whatever else is active and makes it do it twice as often. So if it's combined with a black ooze, it's going to spawn double black ads. If it's combined with a red ooze, it's going to pulse twice as fast with the red AE damage. If it's combined with a green one, it's twice as much. And the only one it does not work with the cobalt. If you have yellow and blue, you won't get 2 mana voids. It's still only going to do 1 mana void. So that's one that is kind of an exception, and you can use that to play into the strengths of which slime you're choosing and things like that. But let's see here. Go through some more of the cobalt globule. This is a mana void. That's the blue one that basically drains all your mana, and this was a very key point to the fight with when we were doing it on progression. The way that we chose to deal with the blue mana void, and we'll get to that. I'll show you guys on the video. But that was where a lot of guilds were running into a wall. They were always killing the mana void. You don't always have to kill the mana void, and we'll explain that later. All right. Crimson slime. Pretty solid. I mean, nothing special, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It just emits damage. Further you are away from it, the more damage it deals. So, you do not want to have green and red active. There's some certain combinations that you don't want to have active. Red forces you to stack. Green forces you to spread. Okay. You can't really have both of those active at a time. So if you have a green and a red, you have to kill one or the other. All right, and we'll get into which one is the best and things like that. So, dark globule. This is the one that it spawns the little ads, the little mini Yor'sahjes that run around and things like that. The green one. This is the one that showers the slime on the raid, basically deals damage to people that stack. So if you're within 4 yards, so if you're spread out, you don't really have to deal with that. And then you have the shattered one. This is the one that puts the debuff on the raid. Okay, this is the one that everybody in the raid cannot be healed. If you're healed a 5th time, doesn't matter how much the heal is for. If it's like a direct heal, some heals are exceptions to that, some aren't. If you hit 5, the player explodes and deals a ton of damage, basically causing your raid to wipe. Okay, so you don't want to do things like healing rain, wild growth, and things like that. Okay, so yeah, just a quick recap on the slimes. On these, you've got the glowing, that's the yellow, which basically makes everything double. The blue, that's the mana void with a mana drain. Red, that's the AE damage based on the proximity away from the boss. Black, that's the one with the ads, and the shadow bolts, I think, also. The green one is the one that showers green slime around the raid and deals damage to people that are stacked within 4 yards. And then you have the shadow globule that puts the healing debuff on the entire raid. Okay, so like I said, not too complex. Same thing in 10 heroic. We'll just go ahead and highlight that real quick. And if you guys are thinking, well, what's different? This doesn't seem that much different than LFR. There's an additional slime, and obviously everything hits harder and things like that. So it just makes it a little bit, you're not killing, instead of only 3 slimes, you have 4 on heroic. So you're going to have a combination of 3 instead of 2 once you kill one. Okay, so that's the heroic version of the fight, and that's so we're going to go over possible color combinations and things like that. I'm actually going to see if Ataxis, one sec. Alright, from here, I'm going to go ahead and get up the video and let you guys see this, okay? We're going to toss it in chat, and then we're going to just do a walkthrough of this video, and you guys can follow along. Alright, and I'm going to go over, I've got this, and then I've also got a highlight that I made that should be done by now, because it's not that long. Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, good. We're going to go over that next, okay? But right now we're going to go over this is the world first 25 man that we got the first day the instance was out. We're the first guild to kill this. We actually killed it pretty quickly. Just a little bit of backstory. We showed up to kill this boss right after we killed Morchuk. Morchuk's obviously a joke, and we had a lot of PTR testing on it. And we killed Morchuk, and then we went to Yor'sahj first, because we had pretty good success on Yor'sahj on PTR. But when we got there on live, it was pretty clear that it was tuned a little differently, like as far as damage values and things like that. And, I think we did 2 pulls, and it was pretty clear right then. I was like, man, we need to go do Riggnaros, because I could see this fight taking a little bit of time, and it actually paid out really well for us, because we went, we'd already cleared all Yor'sahj trash, so we probably lost like 20-30 minutes on Yor'sahj, which is pretty big during the initial part of the race. And we decided to scrap Yor'sahj altogether and go to Riggnaros, and then we did, and then we still ended up getting Riggnaros first, and then came back and got Yor'sahj first as well. So here's a video from that, and we're going to go ahead and play it. And you guys know how to do the walkthroughs and things like that. I'll be pausing it and just giving a little bit of what's going on, why, and things like that. Okay, so on progression, the way that we did it, we had 2 tanks. Pally, DK's hands down the strongest for this fight, just because of the amount of self-healing that the DK can do during the purple phase with the debuff active, as well as just mitigating magic damage through AMS, anything like that. If your guild is progressing on this, you need to make sure that your tank has a Tolbrad resist trinket. And if they don't have that, say worst case, you can even use the Ice Crown Syndergos' Flawless Fang. Some people use both. I got by pretty easily with one. I didn't really need both. As far as which oozes to kill, that's really what the fight comes down to. Is you got to understand the ooze combinations and which one you kill. And it's not super complex. You can get it to where it's pretty straightforward. And the way I will tell you from the way that we do it, and then you guys can ask questions about maybe, a different way or something. I may be able to, give you a little bit of feedback on that. But we've done it the same way almost for the entirety, and that is you always, always, always kill green. Always. Because by killing green, you're allowing the raid to stay stacked at all times, which min-maxes the healing effects from like group healing and things like that. So, even chain heal, whatever. You don't want the raid to really be spread out. And, you can leave green up, but my personal advice, that's the way that we've did it the entire time, is we always, always, always kill green. If there's not green active, we would there's only 3 colors that we would ever kill. It was either, if green was active, we would always kill green. If green wasn't there, it would either be yellow or black, depending on the other color combinations, okay? And most of the time that was yellow. I think the only time when it was black that we would kill black is if it was yellow, red, and blue. I think we would kill black. But either way, you can get by with making sure you always kill green, and then you also want to kill yellow most of the time if you don't have a green active. That's a pretty good rule of thumb. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and hit play here. I'll just give you a quick walkthrough of how this is going. As you can see here, we're actually choosing to kill the black slime here, and the other color combinations are purple, blue, and yellow. Okay, so remember, blue and yellow, you're not going to get double mana void. So blue and yellow, you might as well not even, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, the yellow is not affecting the blue, and the yellow also is not going to affect the purple, because it's not going to give you double the stacks or anything like that. So I'm not sure what I told you a second ago, but this is a combination where you kill black, okay? It's when it is yellow, blue, and purple. You can kill black and get away with it really, really easily, because the yellow isn't buffing anything. You know what I mean? So in this case, if you were to kill yellow, you're not gaining anything, okay? In this case, you could get by with killing purple, to be honest. It wouldn't be that bad, but we just didn't have a problem. It depends on your guild. We did not have a problem leaving purple active because the healers were very disciplined in what they were healing and their assignments, and tanks weren't dying from the debuff. So we really weren't having that much of an issue from having purple active, that we didn't really have to kill it. You know what I mean? Like, even if somebody's hitting 10%, as long as they're not dying, it doesn't matter, because you're going to have every one of your 1 minute cooldowns up for every single phase. Okay, so you know that's the same way. So look at it from a healer standpoint. If you got 2-minute CDs, you know that's up for every other slime phase. As a tank, all your 1-minute CDs, you know, bone shield, div prot, bark skin, all that shit, that's up every single time. So you just have to get a good rotation going. But you know, we'll go ahead and play it here. As you can see here, this color combination was yellow, black, blue, and purple, and we chose to kill black. And again, the reason that we did that is because we didn't really have a problem with purple, and blue and yellow were irrelevant, all right, because they're not buffing anything here. I mean, and then the mana drain, we're going to get into that. You notice that we're not killing blue, and this is why. Okay, so you see here he eats, and then you're going to see what happens with the mana void. What you want to do, and this is 10 mana, 25 mana like, is once he eats, once he drains your mana, okay, the first time around, once your mana is gone, you can use things like Mana Tide, hymns, concentration potions, because this is the only point in time in the fight where you're going to be low on mana, and I'll get to that in a minute. And the reason why, and you use all your cooldowns, like, or I'm not saying low on mana, that's the only time in the fight where you're going to be completely out of mana, okay? But, you know, what you're going to do here is you're going to leave this mana void active. We're going to go ahead and hit play. You see the mana void come out, and you're going to see like mana tides drop and all this shit here for people to get mana back, hymns going off. And what we did, and we figured this out on PTR, because what you saw was a lot of other guilds, they would immediately try and kill the mana void, okay? You don't want to kill this mana void because you don't need to kill this mana void. Whenever you have Hymn of Hopes from the priests, mana tides from the shaman, concentration potions, all that shit, you get enough mana to do what you need to do. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to kill that mana void. And what the downside to killing this mana void is you're gonna, first off, you're trimming damage off the boss, which is like over 6 mil. I think the mana void has like 6.1 mil HP. You know, so that's a pretty substantial amount of damage that you're trimming off the boss. Not only that, but I mean that was a big deal then because Enrage was so tight. That's why I said the fight was really well tuned prior to the HP nerf. Okay, that's why I didn't really want them to nerf the HP, but they did. Whatever. You see here on Affinity's cooldowns on the right, I've got it paused at 1:34. You see all 3 pre-sims are used, and there's probably going to be a mana tide as well. And you see the mana drain already went out, and Affinity's already back up to almost half mana. Okay, so I mean that's a really good start. And what this allows you to do is next time a new mana void comes, the whole time this one's up, you don't really do anything except keep dots rolling on it. Okay, you keep dots only rolling on the first mana void, and then once you're able to get to the next mana void, you just kill this one, and then everybody gets all their mana back. So you're always full mana every time that you get a mana void happen. You let it drain, then you kill the one that you've trimmed. Alright, you'll see that in action here. So it'll make a little more sense when you guys are watching it. Alright, so you're going to hit play. Again, the slimes come once a minute. Keep that in mind. Once a minute. You see the debuff is out on the raid. Affinity looks like he's assigned to this first column here on his grid. I'm not sure how he has his grid set up, to be honest. I don't know if this actually looks like group 5. Yeah, this is the healer group. So Affinity looks like he's taking care of group 5. As a healer, you need to be well aware of what triggers a stack on the debuff and what doesn't. Okay, that's a very, very key portion. Somebody told me, or I know healing, like say if you drop Healing Rain, it's going to give everybody in the raid 1 stack. Okay, somebody told me, we haven't tried it because we just avoided using Healing Rain because it's not worth getting a stack on everyone to get like a 2k tick of healing or whatever, you know. The Healing Rain will not give stacks after the initial application. Someone said that. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody in the chat could confirm that or not. But things like Word of Glory on a Paladin, you know, like if I'm on a prop Paladin and I Word of Glory myself, it's not giving me a stack. That's the thing that makes DKs really strong here is, you know, you don't even really need a healer on you. You can get, you know, Lichborn heals, Rune Tap heals, Death Pact heals, all that shit. It does not count towards your towards your stack. And there's a lot of other, you know, healer abilities that do and don't count towards the stacks. And that's one thing. And the way to do this really well and get your healers used to it, what you should do is when you're pulling trash, you leave a pack that has a purple mob up, right? You kill the other 2 mobs but the purple mob, and you just sit there and let your healers, you know, learn what triggers it, what doesn't, and things like that. You don't have to kill that mob. You just sit there and tank it and let your healers experiment with it and get comfortable with what works on the debuff and what doesn't. And I'm sure there's probably even a list out there of these heals work, these don't, these trigger, you know, whatever. But I mean, like, looking at this from a perspective of, you know, we didn't, you know, there wasn't a list when we were going into it. We did it with a trash mob. We left the trash mob active and, you know, just sat there and practiced with the trash mob, okay, and just figured out what does and what doesn't trigger the stacks. All right, so that you see that's what's happening here. Like I said, as long as no one is dying, you're really fine. There's no reason to panic. And then once you start summoning the new ads, you see here purple, green, black, and blue. You always kill green, okay? Always kill green. That's my suggestion. I'm not saying you know, again, I'm not telling you that you can't kill it if you don't always kill green. That's just the way that we've always done it and had, you know, outstanding results on this fight. And the reason for that is you maximize group healing. You always want to be able to have the raids stacked if at all possible. All right. So you see here, we're killing green in this situation. That's going to leave us with purple, blue, and black. Okay. So, you know, as a raid leader, whoever's calling shots or whatever for your guild, you need to make sure that you immediately memorize what kind of shit you're going to have going on with each combination. Okay. You know, one thing Notos did for us whenever we were having purple, he would always remind people, purple, you know, no dumb shit. You know, purple is out, watch your heals. You know, no stray wild growths, no stray POHs, none of that. You know, just stay disciplined to your group. You may end up lower on the meter than you want to be, but who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Just stay disciplined to your assignment. And I'm also pretty sure beacon heals do not count towards stacks. So what you want to do is put your beacon on the tank and you just spot heal, and then you're healing the tank through beacon with free healing with the debuff active. Okay, and another thing here, we've got a double blue, right? If we would have killed this first mana void, people would have had their mana drained all over again. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and hit play here, and you're gonna see it happen. All right, the mana drain is gonna go out, and now one of the new changes to the way it works now, you can actually death grip the mana void. That's a change they put in with like the really recent patch. So what you see here is, you know, back when we did this, you could not grip the mana void. So the way that we did it is, I mean, if it wasn't red, it didn't matter. You just have people run and go underneath it. The mana drain's about to go out, as you see here, and then as soon as the mana drain goes out, everybody switches over here, kills the mana void. It's a done deal, and then everybody's full mana. Okay. Well, not full, but I mean, you get like a shit ton of mana from that, all right? More than you're going to get through anything else. One thing that you need to also understand about that is, like, we never really put tons of focus onto that mana void. We would dot it and keep dots rolling on it, you know what I mean? And that would give you and it may seem like this fight's easy now, but I can promise you there's more people, there's a lot of guilds that are still doing this fight that are having issues with it, you know what I mean? And, you know, this is you know, I mean, even if you've done the fight, there may be something you learn from this video that could help you refine things. Or, like I said, if you're still learning it, maybe this is what you needed to get you that little bit of extra DPS. You know, don't switch to mana voids. Use things like mana tides, hymns, potion of concentration, all that shit. Get your mana back, and then you always have a mana void active. That was the key to us killing this fight first. You know, we did that. And I know a lot of guilds, they came over and you'd get whispers like, how are you guys able to, you know, do this, and it's just like, and once we put the video out, you know, you have people that are like, oh my god, we never thought to leave the mana void up, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just little things like that can be the difference between getting stuck and, you know, actually getting the fight done. All right, so we're going to hit play here. Again, the color combination that's active on the boss right now is purple, which is a debuff on the whole raid, blue, which is your mana drain. Once you get the first mana void trimmed correctly, mana void is never ever a problem, okay, ever for the rest of the fight. You should never have to worry about blue again. Purple should never be a problem as long as your healers are disciplined on who they're healing, okay? So really, and then we would always kill green. So that literally came down for us. It was a decision, do we kill black, yellow, black or yellow pretty much. I mean, with green always dying, we would only have to choose between killing black or yellow if green wasn't an option, okay? So don't let yourself get overwhelmed with the, you know, the color combinations of the slimes. So we're going to hit play here. You see here, Affinity's staying really disciplined with his healer group here. He's making sure that no one gets 5 stacks. That's fine. Okay, phase is over. We've got another. This is purple, red, yellow, and black. Alright. We either kill yellow or black here. I'm pretty sure it's yellow. Pretty sure it's yellow. We'll see. Alright, yeah, that's where we're going. It's yellow. That's what I thought. Okay, so right now we call to kill yellow, which means we're going to have... And the reason that we were killing yellow is, you want to talk about high DPS requirements. If you ever got double set of ads, it was just absolutely brutal. You know what I mean? And you couldn't afford to have yellow and black up at the same time, really. I mean, certain ones you could, and you could pop like you could probably do it once a fight, and that was when you would have to use lust to stay caught up. But you didn't want to have yellow and black active. You could heal through the red and black, because if everybody's stacked on the boss, so red's not that brutal, and you only get 1 set of ads. It's when you were getting 2 set of ads, it got a little bit rough, and things like that, especially on progression. Alright, so you see here, we're killing yellow this time. It's going to go ahead and come in here. Your other combinations, you have purple again, you have ads, and you have red. Alright, and the thing, one real quick thing about this while we're on it. Some classes, it's okay to have them stay on the boss, and you just need to understand which classes are better suited for that, and understand if you have the DPS or if you don't. Alright, so, you know, if you know that slime's going to die, you should leave one, you know, you should have it trimmed to where the slime is dying, you know, roughly after it crosses, I mean, it's comfortably dying. You're not pushing it to like it's at 2% right before it gets soaked up, nothing like that, you know. You want to min-max your damage on the boss. And I see people in chat saying there's a mod for all this. Yeah, I get it. You can download the mod and it can call it out for you, but, you know, I'm explaining the ins and outs, why you're doing it, what you're doing it for, because I want people to understand what they're doing, because, I mean, that's the same deal. It's like you've heard the saying, you know, you give a man a fish, he can eat for a night or whatever, but you teach a man to fish and he can eat for a lifetime. It's the same thing. You know, I'm trying to explain people, you know, how and why you do all this and the reasons behind it, because that's going to educate you to understand the reasons that it's working and make you better in the long run of how to, you know, decide this type of thing on your own. Okay, we're going to hit play here. You got the mana void, and notice there's not a blue slime that is active right now. We did not get a blue slime. So what that means, you see here, healers are still at really good, they're still at really solid mana values. Okay, with that said, we're not going to do anything to the mana void that's currently active. They're just keeping dots on it, keeping it trimmed, and it's going to be used when we get another blue, another mana void. Your healers are never low on mana at that point. All right. So here you go. Here, you've got one wave of ads coming in. One thing about this is, as a raid leader, you need to understand and go ahead and map out how you want to use cooldowns. Okay. Say you have, if you're in a 25 man, it's a lot, I would say, easier because you've got so many extra raid cooldowns. But even in a 10 man, the same thing applies. If you've got a DPS warrior in there, he can rally and cry 1 out of every 3 waves. You know, so say you're on 25 man, you have 2 DPS warriors, which we did. We would rotate rally and cries. You know, they would have 1, then 1, and then you have the 3rd one filled with, you know, a barrier or something. Your AMs are up for every other wave. You just have to, everybody needs to understand that you get 1 wave a minute and you plan your cooldowns accordingly. So, you know, if you've got DSAC, you know, a DSAC, a prop pally with 4-piece, that's every other wave you've got DSAC on. If you've got a DK, he's got Vamp Blood for every single wave. That's huge. I was using Vamp Blood on every single wave. if you know, just throwing out other, like I said, AM, DSAC, barriers every third. You know, let me think of something else that may be missing. AMZ, but that doesn't really help out a lot on this fight. Yeah, so, I mean, you guys get the picture. Just make sure your cooldowns are mapped out and things like that. So, let's see here. Go ahead and hit play. Mana Void, like I said, it's still out. You're just going to keep dots rolling on that until you have another blue and you're not killing it. Alright? So we get these ads down. What the fuck? Look at Affinity's busted ass fraps. It's like going black and shit. Alright, well, hopefully that doesn't happen again. He pays this bill. Alright, so again, here we got green. You always kill green. Always kill green. Now this one is a really brutal. I'm pretty sure we probably lost on this. I don't remember. But this one is going to be really, really brutal. Oh, Spirit Link. Somebody threw that out there. Yes, Spirit Link once every 3. Thanks for reminding me. This one is brutal because we always... This is one where you have green and red. You cannot have those coexist. Okay? You cannot have green and red both active at the same time. You have to kill one of the two. Alright? And like with ads, think about it. Would you rather have the raid spread out and having ads all around everyone on the map? Or would you rather have, you know, everyone clumped up with all the ads stacked on top of each other where you have the best AoE healing, most efficient AoE healing, and the most efficient AoE? You know what I mean? So, I'll go ahead and hit play here. That's why we kill green. Using roars is a big thing too. If you have them in your raid, use them. Alright? Use them to get out and help out getting to the slime faster, getting quicker DPS on it, and getting back on the boss even faster. Okay? So you see that slime die. We're going to have, again, remind yourself what all the color combination. We're going to have double ads, and the red shit's going to be pulsing twice as fast. So this is a very brutal time frame, or a very brutal combination. Alright? And you see here we have a barrier down for that reason. And you want to put the barrier where the tanks are also able to fit in it. So basically drop it. Everybody should be inside the hitbox for this combination. Alright? You should be inside the hitbox. I think we actually used both barriers. Yeah, we had 2 Disc Priests for this fight. We had Malady and Affinity. And they went back to back. So we had a barrier up for almost this whole phase. And you see, like, we blow up this first set of ads and we're pretty fine. Or pretty good, rather. And we actually did lust, we pop lust, and we do as much damage as we can. See, the problem with the double set of ads initially is the second set would be spawning as he's spawning the next set of slimes. And this is where we were having a huge problem, you know, but we had to figure out a way to deal with it because, you know, you weren't, you know, if you were to kill yellow to keep the double set of ads, you ended up having red and green both active, and you can't do that. So the way that we decided to do it, we stayed clumped for a second, AoE'd a bit, popped roar, went to the slime that we're killing. In this case, it's going to be green. And then the way you do it, you have a fallback point to where range can still DPS it, but you can, you know, restack and do as much damage as you know, keep getting damage in. So you see, we're going to hit play here. We're at 545. All right, we AoE for a bit, get roar, everybody runs out, and then restacks. You see that Mana Void's still alive. Everybody gets back on green. Everybody should be restacking right about there with the ads, which is what they're doing. Okay? And the reason that you restack is so you can get cleave and AoE on these ads while the slime is going through. Okay? Because you need these ads to be dead by the time you get back on the boss. You see here, here's one person that's not with the program. Not sure who that is. Probably like Affinity or something. Alright, so what's happening here? We killed the globule. All the ads are still pretty low. We got an extra 10-15% damage on those. We killed green, which basically means this one is going to be, let's look at the combination. You have blue, purple, and yellow. Smooth as silk. Yellow does not affect either purple or blue. So this one's a chill phase, alright? But you got to get these ads down because you can't have an ad beating on you when you have the purple thing active. So we're going to blow these ads up real quick. You see the blue ad, the mana drain's about to go out. These ads are dying. As the mana drain goes out, mana drain's done. We switch to the Mana Void, less than 1 mil, boom, you know, over half mana again. Alright, so it's just got to be like clockwork. You have to understand, you know, what's happening, why it's happening, and things like that. And that's the reason. Alright, so you see that's done. You know, we're getting, you know, this is a lot of DPS time on the boss. There's no ads, nothing. This is just full burn, everybody's good. Keep dots on the new mana void, keeping it trimmed in case we get another blue one. Alright, so here, red, blue, black, whatever. You just see green, automatic. You got to kill green. Alright? That keeps your red stacked, or keeps your raid stacked. And you're going to have another blue, then you're going to have red and black, which is just stacked. You have one set of adds with raid damage. Okay? Let's see. And you see here, you have some of these people that are still sitting on the boss. It looks like Juvie, and it's probably about it. Yeah, Juvie's probably sitting on the boss. There's nothing new. Alright? Try to have your raid be a team player. Make sure they're switching. Not everybody needs to be selfish. Alright? Mana drain's about to go out. They're going to switch to this mana void. This may seem redundant, but you've got to be able to understand, like I said, it's just imperative that you know how, why, and what you're killing, and then the timing of all of it. Alright? So again, like here, you've got red, so you stay stacked inside the hitbox, and you've got one set of adds. It's not that rough. Everything's going pretty smooth. We're going to go ahead and bump it up. Alright. This one is purple, red, yellow, and black. Okay. In this situation, we probably kill yellow. I'm pretty sure. That's what I think we're gonna go with. I'll be surprised if we don't kill yellow, because you can't really deal with another set of double adds without lust, and we've already used lust once. You see Affinity's Hymn of Hoping for mana, and yes, we're getting on yellow. Alright? So the reason we were getting on yellow, is we can't afford to have another double set of adds. Okay? If we would have killed black, we would have just been able to heal through, or we would have had to have healed through yellow and red, okay, while the purple is active. It's not happening. You know what I mean? Like, you're not healing through double red while the purple is active. So you have to kill yellow, because you're going to be able to heal through red if it's only without the yellow if purple's active, if that makes sense. Okay? So that's the reason that we're killing yellow here. I'm going to go ahead and get on the boss. 21%. That's what the boss is. So we're probably looking at 2 more slime phases. This is pre-nerf, so it's kind of different HP value. Right now, we would be able to kill the boss. Oh my god. Affinity, what is wrong with your video? It's like the second time that it's went black. Jesus. Okay. So what's going to happen here, I should have a few people in chat. Okay. We're going to put the video back in there if you guys want to follow along. We're almost done with this one, and then we're going to open it up to some questions and things like that. You see here, these are coming in. Again, the color combination is red, purple, and black. One set of adds. The red, making sure you're inside the hitbox. And, yeah. The purple, again, purple is never bad. Like, you don't ever want to be in the opinion of, oh my god, it's purple, we're all going to die. No. Purple is completely fine as long as you don't have people that are just going John Rambo with their heels trying to top meters. You know what I mean? Like, prayer of healing, prayer of healing, prayer of healing. Okay. This is, I don't remember what we do here. I'm going to go ahead and unmute this, and we'll see what we say. Okay. So you go ahead and you hear here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the volume up here. Alright, boss is at 11%, and we knew we were getting close to Enrage. Alright, so the call that we made was just stay on the boss and try and kill it before, we're not going to switch off, kill some slimes, and then go through the whole fucking slime phase again. We made the decision, at this point, 11%, 12%, we're going to stay on the boss. So I'm going to let this play out. Yeah, stay on the boss, stay on the boss, stay on the boss, stay on the boss, stay on the boss. Healers go, everybody go. And yeah, this is a good thing of what we're saying here when this is happening is, you're not taking any damage right now. No one is. Not even, you have a tank that has a dot on him, but that's it, Everybody, when you commit to killing it, you have everybody DPS. That includes healers. And people might be like, well, what's a healer going to do? The healer's going to offer several 100,000 damage combined. They're going to be dealing, 1 mil maybe plus between the entire group of them. You know what I mean? So, like, depending on how long they're DPSing, obviously. But, during the slimes coming out, there's no damage going on. Healers should be helping out DPS. You know what I mean? As long as mana allows it. So you're going to see here.
Who gets the PI?
Nobody heal me.
Fire mage. Probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, I shouldn't. Tricks.
I got it.
Troy.
Get the execute.
Alright, so see how close this gets.
Everything.
So it's 12% when they spawn.
Oh.
Yeah, mine.
And one thing you have to be aware of is if you're going to stick on the boss, it has to be a combination that's not just going to be an insta-wipe. You know what I mean? So, like, say if this would have been red instead of black, you know what I mean? That probably would have been an insta-wipe because we would have had to have spread out for green and then got nuked by red. Or if we would have stayed stacked for red, we would have got nuked by green. So you can't stay stacked and stay on the boss if it's green and red, okay? So that's one thing that you got to keep in mind. You can't do the burn strat the last time around if there's a green and red active, okay? So what's going to happen here?
Just gotta kill it before it gets here.
Just deeps.
Range, spread out, range, spread out.
15 seconds.
Range, spread out. Every cooldown you've got, personals, everything. Everything.
We were pretty excited right here.
Come on,
You see...
Don't blow anybody up. Come on.
Bubbles,
Come on.
bubbles,
Bubble and ice fly. Bubble and ice fly.
Yes!
Okay, so that's that. That's the deal. It's a quick video of explaining, you know, the fight. That's from our world first 25-man, things like that. So, you know, hopefully you guys have a better understanding of, like, you know, which slime you should be killing, why you're killing it, you know, how cooldowns work and things like that. And you know, we can open it up to, you know, people's questions, what you guys have, and things of that nature. And then once we're done with that, I'm actually going to go over it from a tank POV, super quick, not like the whole video. I'm just going to show you kind of how cooldowns should be used, why they should be used, and things like that. Okay, so if anybody has questions about the fight, go ahead and ask while I'm going over this, and I'll go through chat and pick them out. And yeah, so, and then while we're looking at that, I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys a log from this past week's kill, and then we can go to this. Do you solo tank it? Yes, I've solo tanked it on both 10 and 25. 10 man, anybody should be solo tanking it. You know, you're really cutting down your raid DPS if you're using 2 tanks in a 10 man. I actually solo tanked it on 25 man pre any nerf, and then I mean, a DK is the best tank to solo tank it. I'm sure other ones could. As far as tanking hierarchy on this fight, I would say like a DK is far and above your best option. With a druid and a pally being, you know, middle of the pack, and a warrior taking it up the, you know, bringing up the rear. But you know, that's not, you know, you're not hearing me saying if you got a warrior tank, set them. You know, it's just brutal for a warrior tank because of their lack of magic, you know, reduction and things like that. You know, they don't have an AMS, they don't have the self healing. You know, but one benefit, they do have a shield wall every other time, and they do have shield block up for you know, each one of them as well. So I mean, it's still there, but you know, it's not optimal. Any of the tank classes that you're on, like I said, make sure that you guys are using a resist trinket. That shit will make a night and day difference. Okay. Let me see if there's any more questions here. Let's see what this is. That Dexter's link, it's not actually working, the link. But this guy's asking how many healers on 25 man. You could be going with anywhere between 5, anything around 5. Just depends on your healers. Just to show you guys, like this last week's parse for us on 25 man. Again, we do 3 raids a week, so it's split between mains and alts pretty heavily. I think we 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, well, 4 healed it. Okay, so we actually 4 healed it this past week. So yeah, I guess with the nerfs and buffs or whatnot, I thought we actually still 5 healed it. I think this may be one of the first times that we 4 healed it. But yeah, so you can see here that we 4 healed it. Yeah, I guess you could say 5, considering who's Notos. Yeah, I don't know. He was yeah. This is not a fight where you need to be looking at meters, like who's doing what, because you know, if you have a healer that's very disciplined during the purple phase, they may be doing an outstanding job. They just may not be getting a lot of healing off, you know, say and things like that. So, personally, I would say 5 heal it on progression and things like that. But yeah, let's actually take a look at showing as far as tank cooldowns and things like that. Let's start out with Blood Shield. One thing as a tank that you need to understand about this fight is it's very heavily consistent. I mean, like, look at how active these Blood Shields are, man. Like, yeah, this is probably during a slime where I'm not even on the boss. Like, I mean, it's almost like a perma Blood Shield, just because the majority of damage that you're taking is magic damage. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really something you need to worry about as far as physical mitigation for this fight. Especially didn't have a super good use of cooldown. I mean, it's not bad, but it could be better. You see here, I mean, you got to make sure that you want to be getting your. So many times I had will proc here. I had will proc with Lichborn active and my TB trinket, so that's pretty impressive there. I'm not sure I actually had a will proc during AMS, TB trinket, and Lichborn. There's probably just no one really healing right there. And then IBF there. Actually, that may have been where I died. I actually died once this week, so that's probably what that gap is, to be honest. But yeah, one thing you want to be looking at your tank, just make sure they're using their cooldowns. Like, where is Vamp Blood? You see how many times? Yeah, we're looking at what, 6-minute fight at 5 uses of VB. So yeah, that's pretty much where you want to be at. You know, using it every single slime phase. You know, and that goes the same for any tank buff. Let's see. Do you think you could solo heal it in 10-man? Probably not, to be honest. Someone got asked, how do I feel about using resistance pods for tanks instead of a flask? I would probably still go with the stam flask. I don't know, you may get somebody to like show you numbers and, you know, show you that if you're using resist elixir is what you should mean, I think, is meaning resist elixir, because that's going to be a lot more than the you know, a flask. Maybe that would be worth it. I'm not sure, but you can use the stone skin thing and get by pretty fine. Okay. Let me see if we'll go ahead and link you guys this, and we're gonna go through this super quick. If you guys have questions, make sure you keep posting them, and I keep checking over here for questions and things like that. This is just a random highlight that I made for this show, and this is from this past week's kill. It's just a, you know, like 5.5-minute highlight of boss action. So we're gonna skim through this super quick. And just give you guys an understanding of, you know, what I'm saying when I'm talking about the tank cooldowns and things. At the beginning, your tank needs to understand there's only going to be 3 stacks that go out at the beginning. That's it. Okay, so, you know, there should be no cooldowns used here at all. You should be like completely you save all your cooldowns for later on. The slime combo we got, I actually didn't see what it said because I got my chat covered up for the stream. But it looks like it was green. Like I said, we always kill green. And fast forward here. Okay, so what's going to happen here is this is he has purple, black, and blue. Alright. Let's see how we go with cooldowns here. I have Bone Shield up, the Spirit Link's down. Alright, a Rebone Shield. Alright, you should Bone Shield every single time. You see the Bone Shield goes up here. You want to wait for your stack. This is solo tanking the 25 man. You want to wait for your stacks to get somewhat high enough to, you know, warrant popping your TB trinket. You don't want to pop your TB trinket while you're at, you know, 3 stacks if you know you're going to get 7, because it is just going to wear off and you're going to get face melted. You know what I mean? So, let's see how this goes down here. The Van Blood was used, and then, oh shit. You see your Mirror of Broken Images is also used, okay? And you want to save AMS to the very, very end. The time that you want AMS is if you know that the next hit's going to kill you, then you really want to be using the AMS. Alright, see, I pretty much almost died there, and they actually dropped a Spirit Link. Yeah, I think they're messing around trying to let one of the healers parch or something this past week, so healing's not, you know, lights out here as it normally would be. But, I mean, you guys get the picture. You want to rotate through, you know, you can pause it here. That was through a purple phase. I was sitting on IBF. You notice I didn't use IBF there. You could have, but I kind of got by with the other cooldowns because they're shorter, like Death Pact, that's 2 minutes. Lichborn, which is 2 minutes. You want to use your shorter cooldowns first, and that's kind of what I did. And then if we would have got another purple here, that's when I would be IBFing. So you guys get the picture on like how to rotate the cooldowns and things like that. Make sure, again, that you're having your healers work out a system for when Spirit Links are used, when AMs are used, when barriers are used, when rallying cries are used. You know, all that shit should be, you know, lined up and understood, like when it's going and things like that. I mean, everyone is 1 minute long, so you shouldn't be just using them on the fly. You should have set times for them and say there's a combination where you really just don't need a raid cooldown. That's fine. Just pause it. Don't use one, and then just pick up the rotation where it left off. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't want to be going into a set of slimes and not knowing what raid cooldowns are planned. Because as long as you're sticking to the plan, it's going to go a lot smoother than just be like, hey, you do this and you do that, and then all of a sudden you've got, you know, 2 rallying cries being used, or you drop a Spirit Link and a barrier at the same time. You know what I mean? So, let's see. Why are you not using any warriors DPS? Is it because mages and warriors don't bring anything to cooldown? We actually have 3 DPS warriors in the guild, and on this fight we were using 2. Maybe this particular raid there wasn't one, but this, like I said, this is an alt raid. I mean, we do 3 25-man heroic, 8 out of 8 clears a week. You know, one of the raids just didn't have a warrior in it, but when we did it on progression, we had 2 DPS warriors on there. Arms were really strong on that fight. I think they were blade storming ads and things like that. So, okay. If anybody's got any more questions, go ahead and throw them out there. But, you know, the fight's not super complex, and it's not going to be like a 2, you know, try to keep it around, you know, the amount of time that we've spent into it so far. You know, just make people understand, like I said, the number one thing is understanding which slimes to kill and why, and lining up your raid cooldowns, and making sure that your tanks are, you know, good to go on their cooldowns. All right, you know, it's not a super complex fight, but it is a fight where a lot of guilds get, you know, checked on, and they're just like, you know, hit a hard spot. So, if you guys have healer questions you've seen in the chat, Notos and Affinity have already been answering a lot of your questions. If you guys still have questions once we're done with the strat overview here, just feel free to post in our public forums, and they can, you know, answer any healer questions that you have. Those guys have been healing it since progression, so. I know Affinity's healed on several different classes. Noto's pretty much primarily the Holy Paladin. So make sure to, you know, ask them if you guys have questions that's specific to those classes and things like that. One question this guy has here: why is the DK tank more viable? It just comes down to the best magic mitigation and the self-healing. You know what I mean? Like, anytime that you're dealing with a fight that has pure magic damage, you're going to be, you know, it's going to give a DK a very strong edge, just because AMS being on such a short cooldown and the amount of self-healing, you know, Rune Tap, Death Pact, Lichborn, and things like that, Death Strike. So, yeah. Alright, good stuff. Hopefully you guys learned some stuff from this fight and, you know, are able to progress on the fight if you haven't already killed it. And if you have already killed it, hopefully you may have learned something from a color combination or anything at all to help refine your strat. As far as tomorrow, make sure you guys are around. I have a really awesome topic for you know, the raid leader discussion. It's going to be, I'll just give you guys a heads up. It's going to have a lot of 10 versus 25 man conversation, and we'll leave it at that. All right, I got a pretty good lineup for that and some points to go over, because I always have questions talking about it and things like that. So we're going to go over 10 versus 25 man and pros and cons, and, you know, a lot of stuff in that regard. So Wednesday, Tank Q&A, Thursday, Tank Talk, and Friday, special guest interview. I'll have another poll up this week for you guys on what class you guys want to see on the special guest interview. It could be, I don't know, we haven't had a, I don't know. We'll just see what people want to see, man. If they want to see, you know, Warlock, Mage, you know, we've already had all those. We already had a Moonkin and things like that. We'll see what people want to have on the special guest, and then we will, you know, get them on there and, you know, be able to ask questions and things like that. But anyways, thanks for watching the show. We got some raids going on for you guys tonight. 10-man heroic. I'll be on my Paladin, and you guys can check that out. So thanks for watching. Make sure you stick around for the raids. They're coming up in less than an hour, and you know, we'll get that kicking for tonight. So again, thanks for watching. Run a few commercials. If you guys have any questions that I didn't answer, make sure to post them on my Twitter, and I'll get to them. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the follow button. This is a weekly deal, and it will be uploaded to my YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube. And you guys are asking for tips about War Master, Spine, and all that. We've already done walkthroughs on those in depth. There's a 2-hour Spine guide on my YouTube. So just click on my YouTube link below and go check it out. We also have you know, walkthroughs for War Master, Zanaz, Madness, and now Yor'sahj. So the only thing that we still have left are Morchok, Hagara, and Ultraxian. And we'll trim through those, and then once we're done, you know, there'll be a compilation on my YouTube. So make sure that you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. The link is below, and all that shit is located there, among all the other shows, you know, special guests, tank talks, Q&As, DPS challenges, all that stuff. So again, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, check back on the YouTube channel. I'll have this uploaded if you guys want to show it to your guild or anything like that. And if you guys have questions, put them on my Twitter. All right, thanks. Good talk.